Hi, and welcome back to the Whatever Podcast. I'm Brad, and this is my podcast where I sit down and talk to friends and just talk about things of interest to them. Today I'm joined by my good friend Ben. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, good, man. Thanks very much for having me on.
Oh, it's such... Fuck. How unprofessional of me. That was my fault.
No, that's good.
But yeah, it's such a rarity to be sitting at your table like this. It's
because this literally doesn't happen at least twice a week. Yeah, it's good. No, I like it.
Yeah, Ben, I really wanted to get you on here, just because we talk about a lot of shit and
Yeah,
a lot of interesting shit.
I think there's a lot of stuff that's worth talking about.
Yeah.
In the world. So
Yeah.
you just got to kind of like go out there and do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Unfortunately, there's also a lot of garbage out there. So
So much garbage. But yeah, basically here today, Ben and I are going to talk about his career in tattooing. But Ben, as is tradition on my podcast, we have this moment where we crack the can and have a little ASMR moment.
Sure.
So if you want to bring that up to the mic and
Right up there, like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, nice. Yeah, that was a good one. I like that one.
You like
that
that
was
one?
a good one.
Oh, nice.
And I also follow up with the starting question of, if you were a Pokemon, which one would you be?
Which one would I be? That's a good one. I don't have a lot of experience with the whole Pokemon thing, but I will throw it out there. If I was going to be one, the one that literally does very, very little and makes huge amounts of impact.
Like Snorlax?
Is that the giant?
He's the
panda-looking
giant thing that
The
sleeps,
panda?
but when he's like one of the most powerful.
Awesome. Done.
You're a Snorlax.
Done.
Done.
I'm cool with that, man. If I can sleep like 20 hours a day and then just kick ass, I'll be fine. Like,
That was like the most like easy one I've ever had.
Oh, for
Like,
real?
yeah, people are just like, oh well, I could be this or I could be that, but you're just like, no, minimal effort, power.
yeah, right. It's the Deadpool theory of combat. Literal maximum effort for like 2 minutes. That's it. That's all
Exactly.
you're gonna get. So done.
Easy.
Good.
But yeah, let's get into it, guys. This is the podcast with Ben. Oh wait, I just realized I've had another Ben on the podcast.
Have you?
Do you have a nickname?
Bento.
Bento. This is the podcast with Bento where we talk about tattooing. We'll get into it and we'll talk about tattooing because that's a big part of your life, obviously.
I would hope so at this point.
It's kind of a career choice, really, at this point. Like,
Well, that depends on who you ask. It's always been one of those things where you will get people who tell you it's not a real job. It's like, it's not a real job though.
really? Does
Oh, yeah.
That attitude exists.
Still to this
Still.
day. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And my argument is always, I probably pay more tax than you do. So,
Yep.
if it's not a real job, that would mean that I don't have to pay tax and like rad.
Yeah.
So I'm cool with that.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, you guys are professionals because you guys are scrutinized and kept watched, and you have so much you have to know to be able to do what you do.
Oh, 100%. I mean, it is that thing where I'm sure, as you were growing up and all that sort of stuff, you would have had the stigma, of the of the tattoo shop, the bikies and the guys that your mum and dad don't associate with hang out there and stuff like that. The reality is, of course, nowadays that section of that market is just so pushed back. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Nowadays, tattoo shops are scrutinized by councils, health departments, the police, any shop they're in. Like they will have multiple levels of scrutineering go through, and it's kind of now to the point where if you were in any way dodgy, you wouldn't be open.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, you don't survive.
Yeah. Like you mentioned gangs and stuff because of that stigma.
Absolutely,
you guys have been watched so carefully.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, look, one of my favorite bits is in New South Wales, for example, the licensing got so stringent and got so tight that they pushed all the less desirable members of the actual community out. I hate the term industry. It sounds so fake, you know, and that's another whole other controversial thing. But like, what happened was they pushed all those guys out of the community. They literally pushed them out of shops. They wouldn't give them licenses. They made life impossible. They sicked, you know, investigation, one after another, continuously forever. Hailed them up in red tape and everything else. And eventually the guys just went, well, if I'm not going to make money,
what's
forget
the point?
it. What's the point?
Yeah, what's the point?
So they left. Ironically enough, people now say to us, so where did they go? It's not like they just disappeared. It's like, no, they didn't. You know what they did? They literally went and found other places where they can have liquid financial income with very little scrutineering. And there is 2 industries which now exist that didn't exist in the abundance all over Australia and internationally.
Mattresses.
Yeah, stuffing mattresses with just wads of unmarked cat. No, honestly, nail salons, unmarked,
Yep.
cash based, no scrutineering apart from a health department check. No one checks it out, and the guys don't have to be there, so they set it up so their wives run it. Even better here in Australia, especially in places like New South Wales and Queensland and like Victoria and stuff. What they'll do is they'll employ 457 visa workers who aren't going to ask too many questions about where their income is coming from.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, because the
Because
visas
they'll just get deported. Like, they don't want to get deported because they want to work here. And they need X number of years working before they can actually apply for naturalization and citizenship and that sort of stuff. So they're not going to ask questions.
Yeah, of course.
Where do you think those guys went? They just set up Uber.
They don't.
You know, they set up Ubers and they started driving Ubers.
Yeah.
You know, or Uber Eats, or you know, nail salons, or they just went back to the classics, running strip clubs. You know, like, it's really
the good stuff.
the good stuff, right? Like, because cash
I mean, as
cash
long
just
as,
moves around and no one questions it.
Yeah, right. So it's still, you know, I guess like, it's still going. Like they shut down these tattooing places, but the crime doesn't stop. Like
no, look, and again, we're talking about like, you know, everyone has this this idea that every shop must have been involved in it. Every shop must have been doing it. It was only like the percentage,
for
that
sure,
were actually involved in it. But of course, they're the ones that get put on the news. They're the ones who cop the bad stigma. They're the ones that everyone knows someone who was involved in that slightly dodgy thing or whatever else. And it's like, did you really know them?
Yeah, that's right.
Maybe it was someone your cousin knew.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, my cousin knows a guy.
Yeah, I haven't. It's been years since I've seen a tattoo place, and just like looked at it and just thought,
Dodgy.
that's dodgy.
Yeah,
Like things have been cleaned up and things are so different to what they were.
No,
Like,
absolutely, man. Look, tattoo shops that existed in the 80s, the way they existed in the 80s, don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
It's super clean. Everything's really scrutinized. A lot of people now are leaving things like graphic design courses and art school. You know, like guys are getting like graphic design degrees and then starting to tattoo.
Yep.
You know, girls are coming out of like fine arts courses.
Yeah.
And then getting an apprenticeship. So they've done like honors in a BFA. So they did like 5 years at uni and like the whole bit, only to then take on 3 to 4 years of an apprenticeship where they're going to be unpaid just to get a foot in the door so they can start tattooing. That's it.
So I think you're absolutely right. Like obviously you've studied. I won't say what you've done, but you've studied. What made you decide that tattooing is what I want to do with this study or these qualifications?
Look, quite simply, I always wanted to. It sounds really dumb. I saw my first real tattoo when I was 10, for example. And I remember looking at it and just being totally and utterly like captivated with the idea. And I remember just looking at it and thinking, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. And no one in my family had one. And none of my like mum or dad's friends had any, and none of the guys at school, their parents had none, or if they did, they never showed them off. You know, it was never, you went to like a barbecue and there's, you know, Kyle's dad with his shirt off,
Yeah.
like, you know, cooking the barbecue with like this huge tribal piece. It was just, it didn't exist.
Didn't happen.
No. The only guy that I ever really remember meeting like that was someone's stepdad who was in the Navy, and he had this tattoo.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And it was the big anchor with the dagger through it, and like, you know, with the dagger in it, and then like the life ring and all that stuff. And I just remember looking at it going, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, right.
Like, that's really cool. Big American traditional piece. And I was just like, yeah, that's really cool. And I always wanted to do it. But never thought I could draw well enough.
Yeah, right.
And so spent years as an artist, spent years working as a screen printer, doing all sorts of crazy stuff, going off and living all these other weird dreams. And then got to a stage where I just went, I wonder if I applied, if I get it, would I get the apprenticeship? Would I get the shot?
Yeah.
And so I went and applied, and I got told that I couldn't draw and to go home and stop wasting my time.
Oh no, really?
No, 100%.
Really?
Like, oh yeah. I applied at about 80 places.
Shit. Okay.
It was just that thing where you went in, you showed them a portfolio, you got set up to a meeting and everything else, and the guy would never show up. Or he'd take one look through it and just go, there's not enough realism in there, and throw it back. Or you'd go and you'd meet the person, and the extremely narky little bitch at the counter would just be like, oh no, we're full, sorry, sauce, and flick it back, and you're like, okay, you didn't have to be such a Northern Territory about it. Like, you know, like, and yeah, like, so it was just that thing where, yeah, so you do all these applications and you do all this groundwork and you finally get this opportunity, and they go, yeah, man, you start Monday, and you go, sick. Now what?
Yeah.
Because now you're broke.
Oh man.
Apprentices, like, flat out just don't get paid until they start making money
Yeah.
for the business. So you're just not going to get paid.
Yeah, right. Was your apprenticeship like, would you say it was rough or unbelievably rough?
Okay, if you had to qualify what your apprenticeship was like in a sliding scale of like, my apprenticeship was still a better love story than Twilight, but it was certainly not good. It was not any good, and I would literally define it as hot garbage. I would have been better off sitting at home, sticking myself in the leg.
So you got nothing from the industry from that apprenticeship?
Look, in all seriousness, I feel like I got a very good insight into how people rip other people off.
So it was a person or establishment taking advantage of free work? Or?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Look, it was always this thing where it was like, the apprentice master.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna name names,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna do the thing because
It's fine. I would have beeped it anyway. It's
oh,
fine.
would you? Oh, okay. Well, then it was. Now I really want to name. Now I want to name names, get vengeance. No. Look, the apprentice master would do things like ring me or, you know, the other apprentice at the time on a Sunday afternoon at like 4 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We would have finished at on the Saturday at like 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock at night, cleaned up, shut the shop, gone to the pub, caught up with all the guys, had a couple of beers, done the thing, crashed out, and then we would travel the hour and a half home the next day. We'd stay in town because we had to travel to this establishment,
This place, yes.
this refuge of the carnies of the tattooing world.
can't tell if she's actually saying, "Hey, Liv, do you have a tissue?" Don't mind me. I might do something gross, but fine. Continue.
There's
Sorry.
tissues like right there.
Oh, I already used my shirt.
And he's already used
Goddamn.
his shirt. You should see this. Look at that booger.
Oh,
It
it's
is
just hanging.
huge. Like,
It's fine. This will be cut out. It's fine.
it's like a snail trail. It's gross.
Maybe I'll leave it in. Maybe
Yeah,
I wanna
leave that bit in.
adventurous.
That'll be great. It'll give them an insight into what people are really like. No,
God.
yeah. So they would ring us on the Sunday afternoon as we were traveling, or like when you were sort of doing family time or doing your own groceries or trying to mow your own lawn or whatever. And they would literally ring you and just say stuff like, "Hey, you need to go and get my groceries and then deliver them to my house."
What were the consequences if you didn't do that?
Don't turn up tomorrow if you don't turn up.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, like it was always this impending, I'll just take it away.
Right.
For years,
So
for years, this went on.
they're just hanging over your head, like.
Oh, yeah. It was just soul crushing. The worst thing was that I'm like really stubborn and a bit of an ass about stuff, and so like I would just do the thing and then be like super sarcastic about it. So yeah.
Is it the sort of job when you're learning, if you fuck up with one place, they all hear about it and like it's harder to get back?
It can be. It depends on who you work for and where. Like if you work in like downtown Melbourne, there's like 30 shops within an hour's drive of each other. Newcastle is, what is it? At one point it was 16 shops within a 4.5 block radius. Like in all directions. There was like 4.5 blocks, like boom, boom, boom. There was like 16 shops. So if you like screwed up at one and they decided that they didn't want you no more and they punted you, and they talk about it as like getting punted.
Yeah, right.
Like, punted.
Oof.
Punted. Punted. Just like toe punt. Don't see you
Gone
later.
out.
Like they don't want them. Like just get rid of them. And then you hear stories about guys just walking in, just going, "Get rid of him. He's a fucking asshole," and just like turn around and walking out. And the apprentice is like right there in the room.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, like it was super rough, right? But the moral of the story was, if you leave somewhere like that, you would leave there and you would go to this other shop and they would say stuff like, "Oh, you were working for such and such." It's like, yeah. Like, what happened? "Oh, they got rid of me because apparently I screwed up." And they'd be like, "Nah, man, you start Monday." Because they're looking at the idea of they're going to make money out of you. And someone has already put all the hard work in.
Ah, so looking at like pure business.
Pure business. Yeah,
Pure
no,
business.
they're not interested in that sort of stuff. Of course, there is the other half where like you live somewhere that's a bit slower or a bit smaller.
Yeah, for sure.
Or where Luke trained Mark. Mark now runs his own shop in the same town, and Mark is looking for an apprenticeship, and you apprenticed under Luke after that point. Those two won't take you because they know each other, they're friends, they're still buds, but they work in different shops, and now it's like, "Oh no, you can't take him on."
So it's like any industry, really.
Very much so. I think it would be closer to, in my experience and from talking to people in those industries and stuff, it's got a lot of the that weird internal political shit going on that you get in like extremely aggressive retail or salon work or like bar work, where if you know that such and such was at one bar and then they left and then they go to another bar, some guys will just do the whole absolutely take them on just to spite the other guys, and other guys will just be like, "No, don't touch them."
Yeah. Okay.
They work somewhere where I don't think they work quite right, so no, just don't touch them.
Just don't go there.
Yeah. So it's got a lot of that stuff going on, and it should be, because at the end of the day, the age-old premise is, for every apprentice that you ever take on, you're basically training someone who's going to try and take your money.
Yeah, right. I never thought of it that way.
That's literally what you're doing. Is you're training your replacement.
Yeah, there's another
You're
person.
training someone who's going to try and take your money.
Yeah, there's bookings that
That's
they
it.
could take. Yeah, right.
There is only, say, 1 million tattoos done in your state this year. And I say a million, it's like, that's a lot. But like, you know, it's like, let's say that in your state, there's only 1 million tattoos done this year, right? Okay, cool. Now, if there's like 10,000 artists, that's heaps. If there's 1 million artists, that's nothing.
Yeah, right.
So,
And is it growing? Like, is
it
it?
is absolutely, of course. Yeah, 100%. It's growing. We're experiencing a lot of highs. It's on TV. It's very cool. Fashion's really into it at the moment.
Super trendy. Like,
super trendy. Yeah. Everyone's right in there. The thing was, everyone just went, oh, it's a fad and it'll die off and stuff. Well, 10 years later, it's still cracking on quite happily. And you're now getting younger people getting more tattoo work early than they were, say, 10 years ago. So, like, 10 years ago, people got 1 or 2 tattoos. Then 5 years ago, people started getting sleeves. Like, the common thing was like, oh, I've got a half sleeve. Like, every dude you ever met named Kyle who punches drywall and, drinks energy drink had a half sleeve.
Yep. Fluoro work vest.
Yeah,
you know,
right?
the whole
That
thing.
guy.
Yeah. We all know him.
You know that guy.
Yeah.
Everyone knows that guy. Nowadays, it's almost become like par for the course, especially in the regions that I've been tattooing in for the last, say, 5 years. It's almost mandatory for someone to have a sleeve of black and grey realism.
Yep.
I mean, like, real talk, and like all the listeners, you know, that they're actually sitting on the bus with the headphones in and doing the podcast thing and all that sort of stuff, right?
Yeah, all three of them. Thanks,
all
guys.
3 of them. There you go. How you doing? Thank you so much. Play a game called, I'm going to look around and see how many black and grey realism sleeves I can see. I guarantee you there will be at least one. You will look around the building that you're in, be it a prison or a bus or whatever, and you'll literally go, one.
Yep.
Like,
There's always
nailed
one.
it. There's always one.
Yeah.
Because that stuff's super popular.
It's cool. It's
cool.
It's manly. It's,
in again, and I use that term, the industry, and it makes me want to shelf like a rolling pin when I say that, because it's awful. The industry, right, has a joke about them, and they refer to them as newie tats.
Newie tats.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that before.
Yeah, right. So they joke about it, just doing the whole, oh, look, someone's in for a sleeve of newie tats. And it's literally, it's this joke. Because people in Melbourne and Sydney like to make these jokes where they say stuff like, oh, Newey's about 2 years behind.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Right? And then the further out into the country you go.
I was about to say, how far are we behind?
About 10 years. And, like, you know, but, like...
I'd believe it. I'd believe it.
The sad bit is it's pretty true, right? Like, when you go to conventions and stuff, and especially, like, conventions, the big ones, Perth, Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne. Conventions in Sydney and Melbourne have less black and grey realism getting done nowadays and more diversity. There's back to those returns to the American traditional and the dot work geometric stuff and the neo-traditional and Japanese, like traditional Japanese, and even like a modern interpretation of Japanese where it's actually got a bit more realism going on.
Yeah, right.
That stuff, it's really diverse. There's heaps going on. There's crazy stuff. If you like a thing, there is a guy or a girl or a they there who will have that thing on tap and a whole flash sheet of it just sitting there waiting to go.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to go, that one, how much is that? And they'll charge you an exorbitant price because it's a convention and conventions are expensive.
I've never been to one, so...
Oh, yeah, dude. Like a tattoo that would cost you $300 in the shop with me, right, will cost you $600 at a convention.
Oof, okay.
Because fuck you, that's why. You know, like, it is literally the operation. None you fucking
they
business.
They gotta pay for that spot.
You got to pay for the spot. You got to bring all the gear. You got to stay in a hotel. I got to go and have money for coke and strippers. Like, you know, it's expensive, man. Life is expensive, and you do so. Yeah, you get to charge like straight up double. And the more famous you are, the more popular you are, the more in demand you are, the worse that is. Yeah. Like, you know, so someone like a guy that I actually really like the work of works out of Sydney. He works out of Melbourne. His name's Matt Curzon. Guy's a god in neo-traditional. he's booked like a year in advance. And when he goes to conventions, he will literally bring one of his guys from, like a guy will fly in from Perth to get tattooed at the Sydney convention because it's the only time he could get a booking.
Jeez.
You know, like, and you just hear that and people, you just go, that's madness. It's like, yeah, that's what's going on right now.
But that's how good it is. It's like...
That's how good it is right now.
Yeah.
It is one of those things where I jokingly say this, and I love this, and I actually get this from a friend of mine who I grew up skating with, and doing like martial arts with, and you know, all that sort of stuff. He was in a death metal band, which I'm sure one of the three listeners will actually know, which was called Parables.
Oh yeah, Parables. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
He was the lead singer from Parables. He was the deep voice in Parables, and he was the Tibetan throat singer and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, right.
His name's Steve, and he's a really, really cool guy, right?
Yeah.
And I still have a mad amount of respect for him, even though I haven't spoken to him for like 3 years because I moved away and you know, stuff changes. Right?
Life happens.
Life
Yeah,
happens,
life
right?
happens.
In the meantime, life happens. One of his things was when we were skating, he would say stuff like, he's like, man, I love skateboarding so much, I just want it to die again. And he literally wants the industry side of it to just die. Like, imagine just done, dead. Money goes away, sponsorship goes away, all the Red Bull ads go away, gone, right? And he'd be like, man, I love it so much, I just want it to die again.
Yeah. Just wants that freedom. He just wants
the freedom to be the only guy doing it again.
Yeah.
Like when it was like you and 6 other guys, you knew those 6 guys were actually committed to the thing. They weren't just posers who were there, like doing the thing. And I now equate exactly the same thing with tattooing. Someone said that to me the other day. They're like, "Oh, you must love it. It's so big right now." I was like, "Yeah, I love it so much. I want it to die." You know, like
I get it. I totally get it.
And it sounds horrible, but it's not horrible. It's actually, wow, that's really Misery-esque, isn't it? Like, wow,
No, I get what you're saying. You love this thing so much, you just wish you could have it somewhat to yourself and like,
yeah. Oh, look, and the worst thing is that it's not going to die.
no.
It's going to get more obnoxious and more fake tanny and more inspirational quotes upside down because they're for you and
Good reference. Yeah.
more turd birdie and like, you know, the whole bit. And it is going to do all this stuff. I mean, like, Jesus Christ. I mean, there are memes pages out there for tattoos.
Just for tattoo.
Just for tattoo and just for tattooists. Like just for tattooers. Like literally the scab wizards and the gatekeepers of the scab temple, of the ink farm. You know, like, and this is how they talk about this. They literally refer to like the tattoo shop as an ink farm. You know, like or a scab temple. And then they'll call like tattooists and stuff like that. They'll literally refer to them as a priest of the tat gat, you know, like scab wizards and like all this sort of stuff. And they're like the gatekeepers is that poor bastard apprentice sitting on the front counter looking miserable. Like that guy, he's known as the gatekeeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the only way you're getting into that back room is by going through that gatekeeper and. Hey, you know what? Look, that kid literally isn't getting paid and is living on nothing but Red Bull and a second job. So, like, don't fuck with him. He will kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
a
rabid little squirrel. Like, wah, will be in there. Like, you know, I love those kids because they're thirsty and it's great.
Yeah. I mean, we'll move on to a question I'm sure that a lot of people would love to hear.
Sure.
What's I don't know. I hope this question doesn't
I
dox.
hope this is loaded.
I hope this doesn't dox anyone locally.
Ooh.
But an example of
100%.
like the best and worst work that you've done in your entire
Oh
career.
God. Okay. You know what? I as a weird comment, and I'm being legit 100% straight up with you.
Mm-hmm.
I had a horrible encounter one night with a girl who came up to me and was like, "Oh, hi, you don't remember me?" And I had that moment where I went, "No."
You just stare blankly and
like deer in the headlights, fear, like,
what have I done and
what
should
have
I
I
be
done?
worried?
How much child support do I owe you? Kind of deal. Like, and I had that moment and I was like really freaking out. And then I realized that I'd actually tattooed her.
Ah, right. Yeah.
Okay. And I only realized I tattooed her after she was chatting to me, and I said, "Oh, hey, who did that?" And
Didn't
she
recognize your own
No,
work?
I didn't recognize my own work. I did it when I was an apprentice, and
Oh.
yeah, right. And she did the whole, "Oh, you did," and I went, "Awesome. Do you want to come in one day and we're going to talk about fixing that up?" Like, and that's really horrible. That's really horrible, but it's absolutely like gospel truth. Like, I just went, "Yeah, come in and we'll fix that up." Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. And she did. She came in and we went back over some stuff and we fixed up some colors and did the thing. Look, anyone who's ever been an apprentice in anything, I don't care if it's bricklaying, plumbing, whoring, tattooing, it doesn't matter, right? If you've been an apprentice, you know for a fact that there is work out there that is not your best day.
Oh, yeah.
And this one came back and bit me like Moby Dick. And I was just like, yeah, good. All right, we're going to fix that.
I mean, that's 100% a sign of improvement.
Yes.
Being able to look at that and say, okay,
"Man,
not
I
the
could've
best
done
thing
that
I've
better.
done.
I could have done that better."
And then what's great too, what I love to hear is you have the integrity to go, I'll take care of that. Let's get it fixed.
Look, it is one of those things where it's like, because of other jobs that I've had in the past and because of other experiences in my life, I realized at some point during tattooing that having people walk around going, "How good is this? I love it,"
Yeah.
is the best form of advertising you will ever have.
Yeah.
The worst form of advertising you can ever have is that sponsored Instagram post, like, "Look at me, oh my god, I'm gonna suck some farts out of people here" kind of bullshit. And it's that sponsored ad bullshit.
Yeah.
It's just like, that is the most disingenuous, fake as fuck looking shit in the world, and it makes me really angry.
You can't see it, but he's just red.
It makes me really angry, and it's not because it makes me really angry because I'm like, well, screw you guys, I should be getting heaps of that stuff. It's because it basically means that you as an artist, you as a musician, you as a fashion designer, you as a butcher, you don't have to be good. You just have to be everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%.
You know what I mean? Like meth is not good. It's just everywhere.
Yeah,
and I know that's a horrible analogy, but meth is not good. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So it's readily widely used, right? If you're going to follow that analogy, it's like cocaine is good, but like it's not everywhere.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use that as a joke and the analogy is like, yeah, look, the problem with that stuff is they just get to be everywhere all the time and everyone sees it. And then because everyone's seen it, it must be good.
Okay. Yeah, I see what
Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
The best is a really weird best.
Well, has there been a piece where they've said, I want this, and you've gone, that's rad, let's make it happen, and then it's turned out exactly how you wanted it to turn out?
Yeah, there's a handful of pieces that come to mind where you just do the client was rad.
Yep.
The piece was cool. They sat really well. Everything went well. It just went in. They didn't bleed. They didn't squirm. You had a really good time. You had a mad chat. Because I'm not one of those I'm here to win the convention starter pack little bitches that likes to put the nitrile gloves on and the giant gold watch and the backwards cap and then just like put headphones on and fucking ignore you for like 8 hours. I can't do that.
Nah.
I love those guys. I love them because I'm just like, oh man, I just want to flick shit at you and like see if you notice until the end of the day. Like, you know,
they're focused. They're focused.
They're focused. They're totally focused. You know what? And they always kill it, and it's always perfect. And I respect that. But for me, it's that thing where it's like, repeat customers will come back and they will love you and they'll talk about you if they come in, you make them feel welcome, they get the tattoo they want, it looks cool, it fits all the boxes that they have to tick for the actual physical tattoo. But then you've also got to have all that other stuff.
Oh, the personality
because it's still customer
drives
service.
it. Yeah, exactly. You gotta have that personality to drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's so many dudes out there that just kill it. They're a photocopier. Like they can literally like click, take a photo, and then produce the photo. But the guy's got and the guy's got a personality of like, you know, a brick. It's like, oh, he does amazing work. He's such an asshole. It's just like, no, he's not an asshole. He just has no people skills. Like, you know.
That's the thing. Like, I think people are going to be much more loyal to someone who has personality than someone who can just sit in silence. Because you can get a lot of those people that sit in silence. Like you can interchangeable. Sadly.
Yeah, absolutely. They and the problem is they are interchangeable. Like, you know, it's like, oh yes, well, you know, X does this work and it's amazing and everything else, but he sat in total silence for like 15 hours. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Cool. But then you'll have a conversation with somebody who was like, oh, I went in and saw Z. And we sat there and they were telling jokes and they were laughing and I'm really happy with the tattoo and it was like about the right price and I got in like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, they're going to come back.
And they're going to come back. But the guy who waits a year and then you don't say a damn word to him for the entire time, he's just going to walk away going, tattoo's sick. Guy was a dick, you know? Like,
and then like, here's the thing. They might get the next tattoo, you know, in Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane because they've got those same guys that amazing work. But there's nothing to make you loyal to that one person. Like
the classic all boat and no motor.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
Unfortunately, people drive the community. People drive tattooing.
Yep.
So if you can't fuck with people, you can't fuck.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, you know, it is that thing where it's just like, you know, oh yeah, I kill it. I can do amazing portraits. Like, great. No one cares.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
No one cares. You know. So is it that meme of the original Jurassic Park, the guy that played Newman?
Yeah, Newman
in Seinfeld, right? Like, and it's that thing was like, you know, and he's sitting there, and like, people always make memes out of it, you know, because he does the whole like, you know, oh, he's stealing stuff from the park. Yeah. See, no one cares, you know, like, and it is that exact thing. Yeah, it's 100% that thing. It's just that thing where it's like, cool, he does sick work. No one cares, you know, like, because no one will remember you if you're just a photocopier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for sure. You need
no photocopier ever.
I mean, if you're the best photocopier,
absolutely.
Maybe if you're top of the pile.
Oh, look, if you're the top, if you're the sharp GLX of, you know, like, if you're the Mercedes of like photocopiers, great, cool, great, awesome. I'm so happy for you, man. Yeah. But there are guys out there that are amazing photorealists or are amazing at doing like American traditional, which is one of the things that I do a lot of. One of the best guys in the world for doing American traditional is one of the weirdest dudes in the world.
like kooky, or do you mean
like kooky,
strung
just,
out?
No, just kooky, man. Like, I mean, if I looked like that, I wouldn't go around giving my opinion to people because I'd be afraid I'd get my head kicked in. But he gets away with it because, like, he just has this aura of, like, crazy.
Yeah, right.
He's just a weird dude.
Is it like let him be, or is it a don't fuck with him crazy?
Oh, no, it's a let him be thing. You just do the whole, oh, man, he's just weird. You know, like, just leave him alone. It's fine.
Yeah, for sure.
But you find that, like, all the cool guys are. I mean, you know, without name dropping, it's like some of the best tattoo artists currently working, guys like Nico Hurtado. If you don't know who that guy is, Instagram that guy or Google him or something, because the guy is a freak, you know, like, he's a freak. And I don't say that as in like, ooh, he's funny looking. I mean, like, the guy's ability to capture light in a tattoo is beyond control. It's not something you teach. You just do that.
Yeah.
The guy obviously just sees in a different spectrum. Like, it's just insane. Steve Butcher, he's a Kiwi who moved to LA, I think, for like last year or something. Same thing. Guy comes out of nowhere. Tattooing for 10 years. No one, like, everyone knows him, but no one really like takes him too like crazy at conventions and whatever else, and like whatever else. And then one day he's just killing it.
Yeah, right.
Just overnight. Just appears. Just rose from the group and was now one of the best guys in the world.
Does that happen often? Is that something that's pretty, like, is that a rare commodity? Like,
I feel like that's a rare commodity.
yeah, okay.
It certainly helps when you have someone helping.
Of course. Yeah, like anything. Yeah.
Like anything.
Yeah.
Like if you have a hype man, of course you look like a big deal. You know,
yeah.
I'm not saying those guys did. I'm just saying, like, when conventions or magazines or like some of the vlogs and stuff like that start promoting you, you go from having 10,000 people see your stuff to like a million. And once a million people see it, 10 million people see it.
Yeah,
and it just goes stupid from there. So 100%. It's like when you watch people's like social media, and I'll preface this by basically saying I think social media is one of the worst things that ever happened to society.
Oh, definitely. I agree completely.
And that's not the controversial bit. No, the controversial bit is it's all run by lizard people. No, it's I mean, look at Zuckerberg. Look at his head.
Look at him.
He looks like he seriously looks like what happens if you tried to make the Minecraft movie out of people. Like he's just garbage. Like that skin suit. Like seriously, mate. Like, in all fairness, if you're screening this, like that skin job suit you've done there, that is garbage, mate. You need to roll that thing back and just like find a new host.
IRL Minecraft movie.
Yeah, right. Like, like an IRL Minecraft. That's what Zuckerberg's head looks like. You know, and I just do the whole, yeah, great, cool story, man.
I'd watch that. I'd pay money.
Hey, look, in all fairness, like, not to bring slander into it, but like, he did pretty well for a thief. Like, you know, like,
yeah. No, was he acquitted? What happened with that? I don't even remember.
How much money does it take to get acquitted?
Oh,
billions. Like, you know, like you got to have
which
friends.
he had,
and access to large amounts of personal information you can hand over to the NSA, and that's still not the controversial bit. You know. Like,
anyway, back to tattoos.
Yeah. Look, there's guys out there that are doing that stuff, and they're just killing it. Getting back to the original sort of question, of course, about what's the best one.
Oh, that's right.
The best one is now you've put me on the spot. The best tattoo I've probably ever done was I want to say that it's like the big trad, you know, like there's a local guy here. He was the lead singer for one of the punk bands, punk, screamo, emo, sorry, whatever they are.
Emo's dead.
Hardcore. Yeah,
hardcore.
we're gonna go hardcore.
Hardcore punk.
Hardcore punk. Barry. No,
Don't know. Drawing a blank. Don't know him.
dude,
Don't know him.
He was the lead singer for one of the hardcore bands from like the Tamworth Armidale area. They did a bunch of shows.
Yeah, right.
I'll think of it in like 2 minutes, and then I'll be like, those guys, Honest Crooks.
Oh, Honest Crooks. I know the name.
He was the lead singer for Honest Crooks. Now, he's got a huge amount of traditional work, right? And on his side, where I think 90-something% through doing a cover-up, that is an American traditional panther based on the Coleman Zeitman era panther, like climbing panther.
I'm gonna have to Google that.
So it's like the black stretched out panther looking back over its shoulder with the claws and skin and that sort of stuff, right? Like the classic. Everyone knows it as being a Sailor Jerry. Technically it's older than that. It's more of a Zeitman or a Coleman, or, you know, like something like that. And those guys all had variations of that idea. One person does it, someone else steals it. Sorry, appropriates it.
Quotation marks, appropriate.
Yeah, right. Big old quotation marks that no one can see. They appropriate it, and then they put it on their flash sheet, and then someone appropriates that.
Yeah.
And it goes down the line until it becomes really popular, and suddenly everyone's doing it.
Yeah. So that's how it works.
That's how American traditional worked, right? Like, cool. And so he's got this huge panther on his side with this sort of Jerry style snake winding around it, and the panther's fighting the snake.
Yeah, right. That's
and
cool.
And it literally goes from like his nipple. Like it goes from like basically his chest and like his pec and that sort of stuff, and it runs the whole way down his side, and then basically I think the tail ends basically going into like his underline. Like it's a big panther.
Yeah.
And this thing takes up his whole side.
That sounds
big
rad.
panther.
Does he get shirtless for his shows? Because
yeah, I think he does a bit of that
rad.
sort of stuff. So it'll be really cool on stage. It'll look sick. You
Yeah.
know, like and I really appreciate the fact that like he still reckons that's one of the worst things he's ever done. And I've tattooed the backs of his knees and stuff like that. And he just goes, yeah, that's still the worst thing I've ever done. Like, you know, and it's great. And I love it because it's this huge thing. And I really have loved working on it. And I really appreciate the fact that he just sits there and lets me do it.
Yeah.
Love it. And it would be super easy for me to say that's my favorite. There's another guy that I've done a heap of Japanese work for, traditional Japanese work for. We've done his whole back. We've done his legs. It's like, it's everywhere. And it would be super easy for me to say, that's my favorite. To me, those ones are super important. They tell people the sort of work that I want to do.
Yep.
The sort of work I love to do. I get out of bed early just to do that stuff. And I don't get out of bed for jack shit under $500. Like, you know, like, it's just like, it's like, if I'm not making $500, you can fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, and that sounds super egotistical, but it's kind of true. Dude, you gotta get pay bills, right?
Yeah.
But there's also in the last couple of years, I've started honing my ability to tattoo people's handwriting and mimicking handwriting.
I saw a piece that you did
borderline
today.
forgery, like, you know, forging their handwriting or forging their signature and that sort of stuff, and then actually tattooing it.
Yeah. I think I saw a piece that you did today that looked spot on.
Yeah,
Like,
I actually did one today.
Yeah.
That was the handwriting of somebody that they had lost, that actually passed away.
Yeah.
Now, what the reference was that they brought in, I have no idea. It could have just been a jumble of letters and numbers, right? But the fact was it was done in the person's handwriting.
Yeah.
And they felt so strongly about it, they got it tattooed.
Yeah.
And they said to me, it has to be that handwriting.
Yeah.
I've spent the last couple of years really honing this as an idea. And I did it, and we got it done, and the guy gets up and goes and has a look in the mirror, and he's standing there and he says, it's spot on. And I said, no, we're going to check. And so I got the bit of paper that actually had the original writing on it and held it up underneath, took a photograph of it, and then we actually sat there and blew it up on the tablet and we're like comparing it, and he's just like, oh no, it's actually his handwriting.
Yeah. And that's fucking rad, because that's a tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, you've given this piece, you know, it's like you've given him something that's there that he wanted.
Yes.
And you nailed it.
Yeah. So like, to me, it is always things where it's like, it's super easy to say, oh, my favorite piece is that huge color traditional piece that takes up the whole guy's leg from like, you know, dick to toe. It's like, great, cool, like, it's sick and it's awesome and I love it. And I've got mates that have got sleeves like that, leg sleeves, arm sleeves, stuff like that, where it's like hundreds of hours of work, and I love every piece on there. And then you do something like that and you go, that shit is super important.
Yeah.
The person trusted you enough to bring their dead mum's handwriting in, and they expect you to recreate it.
Yep.
if you fuck that up, that's permanent.
Yeah, that's on there forever. Yeah.
And they will know it's wrong.
Yep.
Because the only people who bring you handwriting like that are people who know what that handwriting looks like.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so they're going to be like the harshest critic. They're going to look at it and go, "Oh, that swoop's not quite right."
Yeah, they're going to pick up on every little difference.
There's that little hesitation in the B isn't quite the same.
Yeah.
So you've literally got to nail it, because if you don't, you screwed it up.
Yeah.
And then you ruin their life.
Yeah. Memory. Ruin a memory.
Ruin a memory. You literally ruin a memory, right? So so for me, whenever you get those things and you do them and the person is like in tears, it's sort of like, oh, that's so weak. It's like, that's the softest thing you've ever said on film. It's like, yeah, okay, cool. All right. You can wear that one. It's fine. I still think they're super important. And to me, they're always the best tattoos.
Yeah, for sure.
It can literally be 2 centimeters long and 1 inch tall, and the person walks out just loving it.
Yeah.
Isn't that the best?
That's what you want.
That's what you
want.
want.
That's awesome,
Surely
man.
that's what you want.
That's what you want. I agree.
I want them to walk out just going, this is sick. The guy's a killer. He was a really cool guy. Everything was clean. It was all good. We got it done. He was super fast. He was super nice. It's perfect. 5 stars. You know, like, great.
Yeah.
Like, I got a 1-star review the other week. I'm not even making this up, man. Like, I got a 1-star review the other day because the person didn't like the fucking music in the shop. You know, as far as I'm concerned, stick it up your ass. Like, you know, it's like,
sorry, I'll
yeah, can
I'll
you take
fix
that review
I'll
down,
take it
please?
down.
For the love of God. Like, seriously, I put Oingo Boingo on one time and everyone loses their mind. Like, you know, it's like, come on, man. I just want to listen to my bad 80s junk. And I was like, no.
But no, that's totally rad, man. Like, that's the best approach. Like, that is genuinely, because you've done tattoos for me, and that just reinforces everything that I love about getting a tattoo from you. You know, because you really care about the work. Like, you know, it's not just a job. It's it's not
a job. And like everyone, okay, so go back to the preface where I said, people say to me, "Oh, it's not a real job, bud." It's not.
Does that upset you? Like, as much now as
much now. I think when I was an apprentice, I was just like, I had those moments where I was still young and kind of angry. And people would go, "It's not a real job." And I would just be like, man, I just worked for 70 hours this week, didn't get paid, got cut off, had to work a second job, and had my car run into, and then you're standing in the line at the shopping centre and you tell me it's not a real job, I will stab you. You know, like, you know what? I'm now old enough where I just go, cool. How much did you make this week?
Yep.
You know, like,
yep.
How was that $6.50 for 40 hours work with a boss you hate? Yep. Was that good? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah. I mean,
was that nice?
If you quantify what is and isn't a job by how much you make, tattoos are booming.
Yeah. They're doing fine. Yeah. They're doing fine.
Just fine.
No, you know, whereas like, you know, working at the abattoir is probably not a job then.
Yeah.
You know, like working in fast food is not a job.
I work in retail. Compared to the abattoir and tattooing, my job definitely isn't a job.
Like, you know, we have a mutual friend who will remain nameless for his own safety, who loves the idea of talking about how he's only getting like 10 hours a week. And he's really struggling. He wants a new job and everything else, and blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, okay, cool. So that by definition would mean you'd have to get a job.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you don't have a job.
Yeah.
By those very select criterion.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's
which is bull.
Who gets to decide what is and isn't a job? If you're earning money,
Centrelink, the taxation department, your mum,
earning,
mum.
I
mean, like, okay, so like when I actually talked to my mother-in-law when I first took on an apprenticeship, and she was like, "Oh, but it's not a real job." I said, "Why?" And she goes, "Because there's no career. You know, you're never gonna actually have stability out of it." And I was like, "You're right. I'm not," and it annoys the shit out of you. awesome. You know,
Just an
like
act of
both feet. You
just
know, like, and
rebelling.
I just dove straight into it. It was great. No worries. And then I stupidly or hilariously dragged her daughter into it, and now here we are. Like, you know, like which is like ha ha ha.
That's how it works.
Totally.
Look, man, this has been rad.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to do a part 2.
Cool.
Like, I think we should see how the Area 51 raid turns out,
Oh, I'm so keen.
and we'll reconvene, and we'll there'll be a part 2 up shortly after that.
Yeah.
But this has been totally rad, dude.
Thank you so much, man.
No problem.
I just waffled a whole bunch of shit for like an hour.
It was super interesting. I just I don't think I've ever sat in silence in one of these that much in any of them.
Well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's this whole thing where one of the things, and I did this to you actually the first time you came in to the shop. So
I'm intrigued. Go on.
Set the scene, right? Like, you know,
the lighting was just right.
The hazy thing, and like, you know, we'll go back in time. No, and then like Brad comes in, and I had a guy in, and I actually distinctly remember this. I had a guy in who was literally getting came in for a quote on something, and then you guys came in and were hanging out, and I distinctly remember actually talking to this guy about this piece that he wanted. It was a traditional Japanese piece. And he's sitting there just going, oh, but can't we just chuck some roses in there and fill the gap up? And I remember having this moment where I was like, oh, but no, you have to, the thing, and it changes the meaning. And then if we have them facing, and then the color, and then this other thing. And I remember you looking at your entourage that were there and looking at them just doing the whole, is this guy for fucking real or what? Like, you know, like, and talking under your breath and shit. And I was just like, yeah, I'm not making this up. Like, this is a thing now. Like, you know, yeah, I would love to actually like do that whole thing, and I do that to people all the time. As you've seen, I literally have people come in and go, well, how come Japanese tattooing is like this? And it's like, well,
Yeah.
and then I just bore them to death with it. You know,
You just beat them into submission till they go, just do what you want.
yeah,
It's
pretty much.
just-
It's just like, just shut up, Artie man, and just make the thing. You know, like I'm gonna have to. Artie's gonna have to beat him with some knowledge, and it's like,
Yeah.
I will always win. And it's like,
Always.
not always, but I try.
Most of the time.
Fingers crossed.
You know what was the first thing when we started like talking a lot?
Oh yeah,
The first thing that made me go, this dude's fucking rad,
He's rad. He's all right.
was me.
Not actually a tool.
I remember I was in the chair, right? I think it was when I was getting like my first thing I got from you, this bit here. And I look over
Yeah.
and I'm just like, is that Nikola Tesla on your arm?
Oh, for real, it was the Tesla thing. Man, do you have any idea how many people pull me up and go, is that Hitler?
No.
Like,
No,
actually get that really regularly. And it's hilarious, and I love it. Because then I'm just like, yes,
Yes,
it's Hitler.
It's Hitler.
Right?
I'm
Clearly,
a
that's
Nazi
a thing.
man.
Yeah, right? You got me. I'm a closet Nazi.
Disclaimer: we're not Nazis.
No. No, man. Like, I don't understand where that even. Yeah, like, just because he's got a beard, like a mustache. I think that's actually what it is. I think it's the simple fact that he has a mustache and he's got like weird hair.
Yep.
If you go and have a look at Nikola Tesla, right? Do yourself a favor. Bring up Google where you listen to the thing.
Yep.
Look at a photo of Nikola Tesla and then Google a picture of Hitler. It's not the same guy.
Really different. He was a skinny Rush. Was he Scandinavian?
Czechoslovakian.
That's right. He was Czech. Yeah.
He was Czech.
Yep.
And he was an inventor, of course.
Crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Tesla
was-
coil, like
right.
free energy.
Free energy. Look, the guy is like one of those inspirations to me. I really appreciate the fact that pretty much anything you can put your hands on that is an electronic device has at least two parts in it that Tesla invented. And if Tesla didn't invent it, I guarantee it hooks up to something that Tesla mathematically proved was possible.
Yeah, definitely. Yep.
You know, like he basically did the whole. There's this great story about them running the Trans-Pacific cable from one side of America to the other, And then they get to the other end and they're like, look, we can send telephone messages. Like, we can make phone calls from one side of America to the other. Fantastic. And Tesla's response was, okay, but why do you need cables? Like,
Yeah.
but you don't need the cable. And they're like, what are you talking about, you crazy European?
Yeah.
Of course you need cables. Otherwise, how would you transfer the thing? And he's just like, with energy.
Yeah.
And of course, everyone went, that's mad. And he went away and did the maths and proved that that's possible. And in less than 40 years after that, we had mobile phones.
He was
the basis of mobile phone technology, like radios.
Yeah,
and stuff like radio signals working and operating quite happily, and Wi-Fi. The mathematics for Wi-Fi were actually done by Tesla.
Tesla, yeah,
proving that you could move data via waves, like waveform.
It's crazy.
From one place to another.
I can't even comprehend how people work this stuff out. They have an idea, and then they work backwards to work out how to make that
you just go back and reverse engineer it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay, what's the difference between that and like the smartwatch? Like, do you reckon there was people watching like Get Smart and stuff and just doing the whole, no way?
Yeah, for sure. 100%.
And then they just went, well, maybe.
Well, maybe. But what if we did?
But what if we did? How crazy would it be to actually put a phone in your shoe?
Yeah.
Okay, that's pretty crazy. No one's going to take their shoe off to answer the phone, but you could put it in a watch.
Yeah.
Like Dick Tracy.
Yeah. Dick Tracy was the Apple's inspiration. I don't know if that's true.
No, that's probably not true. But Dick Tracy certainly had the watch, didn't he?
Yeah,
that was
he had the what? Yeah, he had the watch. Yeah.
Like Wonder Woman, the lasso was invented by a judge.
Was
it? He said there was this great thing about. He said, he wished that there was a lasso that he could put on people that would make them tell the truth in court. And so someone went away and was just like, all right, so let's invent a lasso that makes people tell the truth. The lie detector.
Yeah,
like a polygraph machine.
Yeah, right.
By definition, it's about as close as you're going to get.
Yeah.
But that was the inspiration came from this comment where he said, I wish that someone could literally do this lasso of truth and make people tell the truth in court and do the thing. And they just went, okay, reverse engineer it back. How do you tell if someone's lying?
Yeah.
There it is. The pulse, their body temperature, their heart rate, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so that's literally what it was.
Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy.
I love it.
And things like that, things like that have impacted you so much that you've
got them tattooed on me.
Yeah.
I've got Nikola Tesla. I've got Hawking. And I've got David Attenborough on one arm.
Okay. I knew that was David Attenborough.
Yeah,
right?
but it's like old David Attenborough.
But at the angle, for a second, I thought it was old Han Solo.
Oh, that's so much better. It's Han Attenborough. Is it David Solo? Nice.
Oh, but yeah, man. Yeah. Look, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah, man.
Is there anything you want to plug? Like, you have Instagram?
Instagram. Yeah, absolutely. The Instagram is at bento.tattoo.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out the stuff and like leave me a 1-star review, that's where you go.
Great stuff.
Please don't do that. It makes me sad.
Every time I see every time I see something pop up, I'm like, yeah, I need another tattoo. So
it's tattoo day. Every day's tattoo day.
Thanks for sitting down, man. I really appreciate it. This has been a very fun conversation.
Thank you very much.
If you haven't already, make sure you follow the channel. We'll catch you next time.